We're talking football with Bengal Jim and friends. We're talking football. We hope this never ends. Jimmy, James, and Tom are back for more. Like Joey B, we're here for season 4 with Bengal guests and stories not heard before. There's Tony, Mark, and Jamie, as well as our charity, Hooday Nation joining from far and wide. Every Tuesday night, the guys are back at it live. By the fans, for the fans, from day one, it's time to have some fun. We're talking football with Bengal Jim and friends. We're talking football. We hope this never ends. The Bengal boys stop by to drop the speed. Don't get your popcorn ready and take a seat. Season 4 will end with the Lombardi.
Happy Winning Tuesday, everybody. It is a Bengal Gym-less version of Bengal Jim and Friends, all friends this evening. So with our special guest, Audie Elmore, but here to kick us off, here is James.
Welcome, everybody. No Jimmy, no Jamie. So this is what we got. But I think everybody's on cloud nine. Big win on Sunday. A lot of fun. Certainly, we had Lot E rocking with our Trailer Park Floozy Friends pregame. So thank you so much for everyone that came out. Early crowd. I think set the tone for the night. It's certainly once we walked in Paycor, striped Paycor, should I say, the place was rocking. Another great charity, thanks to Tony and his crew. We'll have a little video that Mark filmed that we'll show a little bit later. And as you said, Tom, Audie will be joining us. So what is that? 4 straight wins, 5 out of the last 6, and the train is rolling down the track. Tony?
Yeah, it was a great time. The most intelligent fan base around, being able to stripe that jungle. The environment was great. We had a little light show with our cell phones. It was electric inside. It was just a really good environment to be able to take in. So much love to all the fans for being able to do that. It was awesome.
Augie's here when the show started. That's like, normally he gets a tardy slip every week. He is here like at 8:02. I am so proud of him. So congratulations. Mark?
Oh, what a great night. Really meant a lot to see Ken Riley and his family come down, and also the presentation they had at halftime for him getting into the Hall of Fame. They presented him with the ring. That was a really cool moment to see.
You see the ticker scrolling on the bottom. Be sure to, if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to hit the subscribe button. If you're watching on Facebook, we do have that new Facebook page specifically for the podcast. Be sure to like that to stay up to date on what's happening. So let's talk about the game Sunday night, Tom. Let's hear your reaction.
Well, to piggyback a little bit on what Mark just said, it was great to see the Ken Riley family again, classy as ever. Great to see Willie Anderson visiting everybody at the tailgate, future Hall of Famer and Bengal Ring of Honor member. That helped really set the stage. The atmosphere was fantastic. I don't know if you guys thought the place was as fired up as it was a year ago when we had that game against Buffalo, but certainly striping the stadium was a great idea by the Bengals franchise, and I think we as fans pulled it off very, very well, and it'll only get better in the future for whiteouts, and I'm sure that's not the last time the stadium is going to get striped. But, it was another great night for the city. The great ratings for the game from 2 small markets. I think that just shows the amount of attention that the Bengals bring with the type of team they have. But I don't think they played a complete game. I know that sounds pessimistic out of the gate, but stay with me. But they played a darn good one. They punched everything they needed to punch offensively in the first half, and the defense played a near complete game, making big plays when they had to make big plays with turnovers and so forth to set things up and stop Buffalo, to getting pressure on Josh Allen when we needed it. Buffalo's a very good team, a win to be proud of. a desperately needed AFC win because we're going to need those tiebreakers come week 17, game 17. But, I don't think we can ask, you beat the Buffalo Bills. You don't make any apologies and you move on, despite what Josh Allen said, that the refs screwed the Bills over. I didn't see that, but no, fantastic game, but it's over. Let's go get Houston. Let's make it count.
We all know Houston had that big game on Sunday, kind of a coming out party for CJ Stroud. So we certainly can't overlook the game Sunday before we roll into Baltimore next Thursday. But agree, Tom, another huge game by Jermaine Pratt. We look back and look at the contract we gave him, and man, that looks like a steal more and more every week. Cam Taylor-Britt with another interception, just another huge play there at the defensive back position. And, I think last week we were ready to get Irv Smith a bus ticket out of town. But, man, stepped up. I think obviously their game plan was to take Chase out of the equation. They did that for the most part. But, 10 receptions, 100-some yards from the tight end position, whether it was Sample with a touchdown, Irv's touchdown, or Tanner Hudson stepping up huge. So that was great to see. And is it James Casey? Is that the tight ends coach name?
It is.
Okay, so kudos to him for getting that group together. They stepped up, and God knows we're going to need them down the stretch. Another big thing, I think we were 0-9, 0-8 Sunday Night Football going into this game. So another monkey we knocked off the back. Joe Burrow's just on a roll right now, and it's a lot of fun to be a Bengal fan. Paycor was rocking, and we get to do it all again here on Sunday. So it looks like our guest is here. We're not going to keep him waiting in the room. We're going to maximize our time with him. Tom, go ahead and introduce who we have tonight.
He does a fantastic job in all roles for Cincinnati iHeartRadio, mainly on 1530 AM, WCKY or ESPN, as it's so often called, from noon to 3, Monday through Friday, with his sidekick, Tony Pike. And before we bring him on, a word of caution to our viewers. For those that sent the messages last time he was on, I don't want to get political and use a phrase that's used a lot in politics, but this has been used a lot lately. Don't send any messages saying that Mo Egger is this guy's janitor every day when he signs off at 3 o'clock. Austin doesn't like it, and we're very uncomfortable with it too. But he's a fantastic guy, and I think his talk radio coverage of the Bengals is second to none in town. We're very lucky to have him tonight, Austin Elmore.
Wow, what an introduction. And janitor, I think, is putting it lightly, but that's incredibly kind of you. Thank you so much. Happy to be here.
Well, welcome, Audie. You got the big screen. Tom's going to lead with a couple of questions. And, you remind me of tonight. You look like the drummer from the Bare Naked Ladies tonight, Austin.
I don't know who that is, but I'm going to take it as a compliment.
Everybody's going to Google it now. They're going to take a 30-second pause from Bengal Jim and Friends here on Tuesday night. But, Tom, go ahead.
Well, Austin, we could keep you for hours talking Bengals, but I want to start with something James just mentioned, and that's two names on the defensive side of the ball. I happen to think Jermaine Pratt, with the big plays he makes at big times and everything, he's probably, if you're going to make an all-time first-team Bengal, he's probably nudged his way onto that team. Just with that, do you think he and Cam Taylor-Britt are having Pro Bowl seasons?
Yeah, I do. And I think it's interesting because at the beginning of the season, I think you could look at Jermaine Pratt and say, that guy needs to be better. He's part of the problem on defense. If you remember the first couple of weeks of the season, they were struggling to stop the run. They were struggling against play action. They were struggling in that second level, especially in pass coverage. And so ever since maybe week 3, week 4, there seems to be some sort of shift in what they have done that has created an opportunity for Jermaine Pratt to play a little more freely. And that has just kind of changed everything. He's been everywhere. We know about his timely ways of creating turnovers. He did it last year against the Chiefs. We know about the Raiders game, obviously. Did it just this past week. And so when you're playing that free, playing that open, that relaxed, instinctual, is the reason why the Bengals gave him a lot of money in the offseason. And so I think that's a big part of it. And Cam Taylor-Britt, man, he's such an athlete, and he is just continuing to grow as a defender each and every week. And I think those experiences and those reps, now that you're playing with Dax Hill and Nick Scott and Jordan Battle a little bit, the more you guys play together, the better you're going to be at your job. And I just think the confidence level for Cam Taylor-Britt is through the roof, and that's key for a guy like him.
Tom, you got another one?
No, go ahead, James.
All right, we want to remind everybody that's in the chat, if you have a question for Austin, feel free to type it in. Just to reiterate what Tom said, love the afternoon show. I had to turn off briefly this afternoon when the Scott Satterfield press conference and Pop came on, but I'm sure a lot of Cincinnati fans did, whether they're UC fans or –
You were not alone.
But I digress. It's a great time to be a Bengal fan. You know, the one thing that shocked me and listened to a lot of the national media, they are just shocked that the Bengals fans were able to pull off this stripe out or whatever you want to call it. Kudos to the Bengals for getting the word out there, whether it was email, social media, whatever channel they used to get it. But I think it just shows dedication, the support, the love that the Bengals fans have for the organization, because, man, that stadium looked pretty spectacular on Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, it was so cool to see. And I love that the organization has leaned into the fact of, like, we want to be the 12th man. We want to create this place that makes it so difficult for people to come in and play. And they have invested so much in that, in the pyrotechnics and the scoreboards, stuff like the stripe out that just gets people a little bit more excited to come to the game. The in-stadium experience over the last 3 years has changed dramatically. I mean, you guys know you're at every single game. And I think that feeds down to the players as well. It's like, man, our fans went to all this trouble. Our fans are painting their face like Tony does. Our fans are color coordinating. Our fans are doing all this different stuff. We got to show up for them. And in the Joe Burrow era, 5-0 in home primetime games. They're really, really hard to beat in Cincinnati in those big games. So, yeah, I think that all has a trickle-down effect of, like, from the front office down to the field, it's a big deal when we're hosting a game on national television. We have to show out. And I think you've seen that on the field.
The one thing we mentioned before you came on the air was the tight end position. Certainly a huge concern the first part of the season. We saw what happened in San Francisco. Irv Smith was, I think, given a bus ticket by every fan out of town. Certainly stepped up on Sunday night. You surprised to see that? Was it just kind of a combination of what you said? A lot of new guys having to get together. And how about Tanner Hudson? We saw some flashes of him in preseason, and anytime he's on that active roster, he seems to make a play.
Yeah, I was paying for Irv Smith to go anywhere in the world he wanted to go, as long as it wasn't back on the field. Right. And I'm so struck by the way the offense looked against San Francisco and the way the offense looked on Sunday night. Two entirely different offenses. What were we talking about coming out of San Francisco? Oh, they went under center a lot. They used play action a lot. Joe Burrow was running around. And then you look back to Sunday night, Jamar Chase barely got the ball, and Buffalo double-teamed him everywhere he went on the field. T. Higgins had a nice game, 8 for 110 yards. They were in shotgun almost entirely, and the tight end position came up for 10 catches, 101 yards, 2 touchdowns. Irv Smith looked good. Tanner Hudson looks like their best tight end. And Drew Sample had a 22-yard touchdown reception that we haven't seen that sort of athletic ability from him at all since he got here. And I just think it goes to show the Bengals' ability to adapt, number one, to specifically what the defense is doing. In San Francisco, that game plan entirely different than the one against Buffalo. And when you have the ability to change that much, I think that says a lot, number one, about your personnel, and number two, about your coaching staff to be able to move that sort of stuff around and say, okay, well, if Buffalo is going to put 2 people on Jamar Chase and follow him wherever he goes, and we've been moving him around a lot, okay, that's fine. We got Tyler Boyd, who's one of the best slot receivers in the NFL. We've got T. Higgins, who's a number 1 on 30 other teams. And we've got Joe Mixon and 3 guys that can get open while you're covering the rest of those guys. And that's what makes the Bengals so dangerous. That's why so many people in the national media prior to the start of the season were saying this team can win the Super Bowl. Now, through 2 weeks, winning 4 out of their last 5 or whatever it is, you're starting to hear those people talking again. People are saying, oh, the Bengals are back. The reason is they can win in 4 or 5 different ways with 4 or 5 different players, and that's what makes them so hard to defend.
We have a listener question. Lisa, who joined us Sunday, was feeling no pain early, made a stop to Holy Grail earlier before joining the tailgate. Ask about Jonah in the right tackle position. Certainly going all the way back to the offseason, Jonah was going to sit out. Jonah was mad once Orlando Brown was brought in. But I think he's really solidified that right tackle position in the last year of his deal. Do you want to comment on that and maybe the rest of the O-line?
Yeah, I am surprised. I don't think anybody expected him to be this good. He's just been solid. And, Tony and Mo on our station yesterday were making the point about how we used to be all we'd ever talk about was the offensive line. Now we barely talk about it. That's great news if you're an offensive lineman. And the thing with Jonah Williams, I think, is interesting. I do a pregame show with Joe Walter, who obviously played the position, the former Bengal. And it's the first thing he said to me when he got to our show on Sunday. He's like, man, Jonah's playing so well. And when that's the case and you have confidence as Joe Burrow right there in your face, you don't have to move your feet around, especially when you're dealing with that calf injury. And you have a guy like Orlando Brown Jr., who's kind of been slower, but coming into form, you just put those guys on the ends and let Joe do the rest. It's so important to the run game. It's so important to Burrow. It's so important to the quick game. It's important to that deep intermediate game as well. So, yeah, I think the biggest question mark really on the offense right now, aside from the back injury to Jamar Chase, is can Cordell Volson figure it out? He's certainly going through a sophomore slump. And, Alex Kappa, Ted Karras been relatively consistent. The tackles have been kind of consistent, but Cordell Volson seems to be struggling. Now, the offensive line as a whole, I think, was better the last couple of weeks, especially when getting to the second level. That might have been a philosophical change when it comes to the bye week that they established. But Cordell Volson, can he kind of flatten out and get a little bit more consistent and return to that level of last year? If he can, that offensive line is among the best in the NFL.
We're going to go to one more question before we go to Tony. John Stenger, and there's another one here about both wide receiver. You did touch on Jamar Chase. Charlie Jones, a couple questions about his health, and also Chase Brown, Austin.
Yeah, don't think it's going to be Chase Brown yet, but I think Charlie Jones has a chance. I believe he returned to the practice fields earlier last week. But I think they can open up that window maybe starting tomorrow. So I would say there's a better chance for Charlie Jones than Chase Brown. And I'm not hearing much about Jamar Chase. I think Chris Collinsworth, if you heard the broadcast, was like, he's going to be sore on Monday morning. Nobody tried to talk to him. And it sounds like he was pretty sore. And, I really like Jamar's transparency. I love how honest he is about everything all the time. He's like, yeah, my back hurts, and I don't know what we're going to do. So that'll be interesting to see. I would imagine if I'm just using my gut here, I would say he doesn't play this week. And again, we know nothing. They haven't even practiced. Doesn't play this week, tries to be 100% for Baltimore, feel like maybe they can win this game against Houston at home. And if you think back to last year when Jamar got hurt, he sat out an extra game to make sure he was 100% healthy. When Burrow injured his calf in the preseason, he told Burrow to just stay put and get healthy and wait until you're 100%. So Jamar doesn't seem to mess around with injuries. If he's not feeling 100%, it doesn't seem like somebody that's going to go. So we'll see how that plays out. I think there's a decent chance he doesn't go, but we really don't know anything until they take the field tomorrow.
Tony?
Yeah, another thing that's been in the news media a lot lately is, the success of our defense and the coach Lou. There's a lot of talk that Lou, this was probably his last year, and I'm probably agreeing with that just because he is a very good the coach. And so, in your perspective, what team do you think he will be most needed at so far? At this point of the year.
Yeah, the team that makes the most sense, I think, on paper is the Raiders, because of the fact that he's had so much success against Patrick Mahomes, and they have another quarterback in that division who's really, really good in Justin Herbert. And you just need somebody that knows how to stop those defenses, knows how to stop those offenses. And I think Lou kind of could have a little bit of that Raider attitude. He's kind of got that Jersey type mentality where I could see him kind of leaning into that. Don't know what his personality would be like as a head coach. But yeah, I think the Raiders makes a lot of sense for him. As far as the rest of the league, I'm unsure who would move on from their team or move on from their coach. Washington is really interesting all of a sudden because it doesn't seem like their new owner, Josh Harris, is going to keep a lot of guys around. They've got a good young quarterback. They just traded away some pieces on defense. Maybe they could look towards Lou Anarumo if Ron Rivera doesn't come back. And another one to keep an eye on is the New England Patriots. What if Bill Belichick moves on? What if Robert Kraft is like, I'm tired of losing. You're not the GM anymore. Let's bring in some football people. And you go after Lou Anarumo, who is kind of like Bill Belichick was 23 years ago, this young, bright defensive mind that can come into New England and kind of restart. I think that's an interesting one. I don't know about the future of Belichick, but those are a couple teams that come to mind.
Mark?
How you doing, Austin?
How you doing, man?
I'm doing well, sir. Once again, we're at the Bengals season where it feels like we're on a roller coaster. I know after that Tennessee game, I was concerned. I mean, we were getting out physical. We were getting ran on. It was very difficult. Of course, again, Joe Burrow got hurt, but Joe Burrow doesn't play defense. So what, honestly, do you think it is that makes us start out so slow in these seasons and then just get so much better, it seems like, overnight?
Yeah, I don't know. It's so weird. Like everybody wants to point to, okay, well, they don't play in the preseason and they're not very physical at practice and they have a very light off-season program. That's the only thing that really makes sense as to why they kind of start out slow. Maybe they're not entirely in football shape. Maybe they're thrown off because Burrow hasn't played very well early in the season or Burrow's been injured. I mean, I think you look back to training camp and the Bengals obviously had no faith in Jake Browning when Burrow was hurt to play him. They moved on from Trevor Siemian, who, from everything I heard, could barely get a call out in the huddle during preseason training camp. And that just kind of, you're going up against those two guys every day in practice. I think the defense struggled a little bit when they went up against some much better players early in the season. And it just took them some time, reps, especially the youth on the defense, to kind of get things together. Offensively, it doesn't make any sense, really. I don't know if it's a Zach Taylor thing, as if maybe he's trying to ease everybody into it. Maybe it's they haven't installed the offense fully. I don't know. I don't know if it's just the unfamiliarity of getting into like a game week and the preparation and the practice and the grind that takes. At this point, you'd think they'd have it figured out. But here we are, year 3, getting in after the bye week, 2 big wins, and everybody feels like they're on pace to do what they've done the last couple of years, and it's worked.
Tom?
Austin, you mentioning putting the pieces together. Some of that adjustment needs to come from injuries. Like last year, they lost to Louisier, and magically Taylor Britt was ready even after Lou saying, I don't play DBs early. You mentioned your gut tells you right now, until we get more information, maybe Jamar Chase holds out this weekend and is fresh for Baltimore. This year, as opposed to years past, when we all would have been in a state of panic running around with our hair on fire because there's an injury, seems to be a little more depth on the roster. What are your thoughts on Iosivas so far? Do you think he's a guy that can not only step in this week, but down the road could become a big-time target for Joe Burrow?
Fun, interesting, really smart, obviously, and somebody that Burrow trusts. I mean, that's been quite obvious, especially down in the red zone. I think the Bengals were surprised how quickly he came along. A lot of people kind of saw him as this guy that it's going to come in. Maybe he's going to spend the season on the practice squad, developmental. Came in and made the team through training camp and has been impactful, especially down in the red zone. So I think that might make the decision easier, especially if Charlie Jones is coming back as well for Jamar Chase and the Bengals offense. But yeah, I think they look around and say, hey, we believe in the scheme. We believe in the quarterback. A rising tide lifts all boats. And with the production we've seen out of the tight ends, knowing that Mixon is still looking pretty fresh and solid, plus you have a number 1 in T. Higgins, we can move on without Jamar Chase for a game or two. And remember, they played well without Jamar at times last year. So I think Iosivas is a big part of this team's future. It's hard to say that, I know, through 9-10 weeks of a season and training camp. But I think they have been incredibly impressed with him. And I think anytime another player above him is going to miss time, he'll see more reps. But I think you can already see the trust from Joe Burrow. And I think that's as important as anything to have as a receiver on this team.
Going to the other side of the ball, we went from early in the season weeks of non-existent pass rush to inconsistent pass rush
No.
to one of the more dangerous front fours in the game. Do you think you see that trending up the rest of the season? Do you think it's been the competition we've played or the scheme? Or, is it they're so worried about Hendrickson now they're relaxing on everybody else? Or are we just good?
I think a little bit of those last two can be true. I think both of those can be true. Trey didn't do much on Sunday night, went up against Deion Dawkins, one of the best in the NFL. And, I love those type of battles, those one-on-ones with two of the best players in the league. I think they're pretty solid. And I think BJ Hill quietly is having a really good season. Prior to the year, we talked about they need to be able to get pressure from the interior of the defensive line. I thought last year they really missed that Larry Ogunjobi type of quarterback pressure that we saw during the Super Bowl run in 2021. Didn't get enough of that. Early in the season this year, didn't get enough of that. We're starting to see BJ Hill come into that a little bit, DJ Reader come into that a little bit. And I think if there's a question of depth on this team, that's where it would be for me, interior defensive line. But when Hendrickson is playing at the level he is, and every conceivable metric has him as one of the most disruptive, 3 or 4 most disruptive players in the NFL, that makes life easier on the entire offensive line. Makes life easier on Lou Anarumo to have some freedom to move those linebackers around a little bit and get more one-on-ones on the inside, stunt some guys, confuse the offensive line. Meanwhile, this tackle's over here getting his ass beat by Trey Hendrickson. So that sort of thing can just create so many opportunities for the defense. I think Sunday night was interesting. At one point, you saw Sam Hubbard off the ball as a linebacker. You saw Logan Wilson and Jermaine Pratt do a double spy on Josh Allen, which is very rare. And then at one point, Trey Hendrickson dropped into coverage on a third down. That's where that Ludini nickname comes from. When you have that many threats and you can put them doing that many different things, like how do you prepare for that as an offense, especially on money downs like third down? It's a big deal, and I think that defensive line success lately has caused a lot of that.
Looking ahead to Sunday, Austin, it seems like the Texans are a little bit of Jekyll and Hyde. If I'm not mistaken, they're the one win that the Carolina Panthers have. Obviously, we saw the game C.J. Stroud had last week, which a lot of Ohio State fans also are Bengals fans. But what do you think is going to happen Sunday when the Texans come into town?
This one worries me a little bit because it's coming off a big win on Sunday Night Football, looking ahead to a big one on Thursday Night Football against Baltimore on the road. This is kind of sandwiched in between with a team that is better than everybody expected, but still not actually good, I think. But a quarterback that's on a heater. CJ was fantastic on Sunday. He's got such a quick release. And I think that can benefit him a lot, especially in the NFL, fitting it into tight windows, not allowing defensive backs to break on the ball because his release is so quick. But you're right. I think they're really, really well coached. D'Amico Ryans has been fantastic his first year there. And the offensive coordinator for Houston, Bobby Slowick, is a Kyle Shanahan guy. So he can teach quarterbacks really, really well, comes off that branch. So they're going to be well prepared. And they got a couple of guys who can still make plays. Nico Collins and Tank Dell, the wide receivers, are going to present a challenge. So I expect the Bengals to win this game. I expect the Bengals to win every game at this point now, especially in the Burrow era. But I wonder if it's one of those that's a little bit uglier than it's supposed to be, but they find a way to win it. And I think that's just because Houston's young, Houston's scrappy. But historically, at home, the Bengals are really good. And against teams they don't play very often, the Bengals are really, really good. Houston is one of those. So I expect the Bengals to win. Maybe it's one of those 24-20 games, and you're like, well, thank God that's over. Let's focus on Baltimore.
I agree. We appreciate your time, Austin, for coming on, and certainly enjoy listening to you every afternoon on 1530. So give everybody one final reminder how they can tune in and anything else you got coming up here down the pipe.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Noon to 3 every single day, weekdays, I should say, on ESPN 1530. It's called Cincy 360. Myself and Tony Pike, who was a Bengal for about 35 minutes at one point in his career. And we talk about a little bit of everything, primarily Bengals, of course, but college basketball, baseball, the whole 9 yards, FC Cincinnati. And then you can follow me as well on Twitter at Audie Elmore. That is AUTYELMORE.
And
What
then
about the
also,
hotline?
we have a lot of people that aren't in Cincinnati. So if you have the iHeartRadio app, they can simply
Yes.
go there as well, right?
Yes, thank you. That's probably the number one thing on this whole plug. iHeartRadio app. You can just search ESPN 1530 and listen anytime.
Austin,
Got
will
to
you
send
be
the
doing
date, the
the
check this week on that one, Austin.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that one.
So I said you're gonna have to send James the check for the plug this week.
Hey, speaking of Austin, will you be doing post game after the Ravens game?
I will, yes. 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. after all the primetime games this year. I did it all last year. I loved it. Did it again this year. It was super fun after they beat the Bills and the Rams, obviously. So, yes, Thursday night football coming up in a couple weeks, 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. on WLW and ESPN 1530.
There you go. Thanks, Austin.
Thanks,
You guys
Austin.
are better at this than I am. Jeez.
We appreciate your time, Austin.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Be good. Thank you, Austin.
Good.
All righty, let's get me off the big screen here. And we talked briefly before we started. Austin rocked as always. Again, just a great listen. Whether you're in Cincinnati or not, tune into iHeartRadio 1530, and you can hear him every weekday. But it's been, Mark, how long has it been? Has it been 3-4 weeks since you've done it on the Mark segment, which is a great recap of what happens pregame from everything from setup. We had the Trailer Park Floozies this week, obviously Tony's Charities, a couple special guests, and what do we got? A couple minutes. You're going to highlight everything. It's like the fastest 3 minutes in Bengal Gym talk, right?
Absolutely. There's so much going on. There's so many people, so many groups to talk to meet. I mean, you have fans coming from Australia. You just want to capture it all. And, I found times where I'm trying to do so many things that I end up not doing anything, it feels like. So it's nice to just be able to take it all back in. But, just a little recap of the day. We had so many great guests. It was great to see Willie. There was a guy there with a flute. I mean, you never know what you might see at Bengal Gym's Tailgate Village. So let's roll that beautiful footage.
All right, let's go.
Back at it once again in a few hours. Complete pandemonium. Woody.
He wouldn't be in the Hall of Fame today. I know you guys, all of y'all support, Twitter, all of the social media, it really meant a lot to me and my family. I have my mom here today, she's over here, my sister, and brother-in-law. So it's a very special moment, but like I can say from the bottom of my heart, we really appreciate all the support. Every time we come back to Cincinnati, we feel the love. It's all.
Right now, come on, weekday. Who in their right mind thinks they're going to beat this Bengals team? And to that question, the answer is always and forever will be no. And I appreciate the opportunity to be here to raise money for the Joe Burrow Foundation. As you guys know, Joe loves Cincinnati, he loves Ohio.
I got to say, I was a little disappointed with the music on the show this week. It's called grunge. That is the worst grunge I've ever heard in my life on that.
Grunge. Well, hey, great job as always, Mark. I think, you know, it's interesting. You see, and last Sunday was an early crowd. I mean, the parking lot didn't even open till 4, and there was people hanging out at 2:30, 3 o'clock, and then you can see once the sun set about 7 o'clock there, it was from as far as you could see, Weston Lottie, all the way packing Smell Park with our friends Lou right there. So kudos to all the Bengals fans that came out, as you alluded to, Hong Kong, Australia, Germany, England, all over the place. So thanks to everybody that stopped by. We had so much fun. Now we're going to talk about I'm 1 minute late. I said 8:35, Tony, where it's 8:36. Go ahead and kick off your segment, my friend.
Hey, first, I just want to add is, you know, for the charity and everything that we do, those pictures of all those fans, thousands and thousands of fans that came out, you know, we couldn't do this without them. It's just amazing. You know, I'm part of this and I see it every week. It's still, you know, melts my heart to see all those people come to our tailgate. It's freaking awesome. I enjoy it so much. But getting back onto the charity, I want to introduce Mandy. She brought the LLS Society to me this summer, wanting to do something for that charity. So we put her on the schedule. LLS has affected her personally. So we'd like to bring her on and let her talk about her story a little bit.
Hi, guys. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, great. I had some connection trouble upstairs, so I've moved to my kitchen. But I just want to start off by thanking you guys for using this platform to do so much good for our community, and for partnering with us and the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. As you see, I'm wearing our Megan Strong shirt tonight. So our family's first real exposure to LLS was during my sister-in-law, my husband's sister, Megan. She was diagnosed in 2020 with lymphoma. And it was during her treatment that LLS was able to provide her and her husband with debit cards, like monetary support to use however they needed. Unfortunately, Megan lost her battle in 2021, and her legacy continues to live on in her 2 children and her family and friends. And we try to get together throughout the year, each year, doing some small fundraising, all to support LLS in her memory. And we want to continue her fight, even though she can't, so that we can provide some hope and light to some of the families who are going through this themselves. And so that being said, I believe Christina is with us tonight as well. Christina is the campaign development manager for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society for the Ohio River Valley, who all the proceeds are benefiting in tonight's charity duck race. And we just want to thank you all for doing that tonight.
Yes, I want to echo that. Thank you all for having us on, and thank you, Mandy, for doing this in memory of Megan. We are an organization that is right here in Cincinnati. We've been around for 70 years. And like so many, me included, I wasn't aware of the Leukemia Lymphoma Society until it hit our home. So we have patient services, as Mandy mentioned. We have financial aid. We have urgent need. We have everything from from your diagnosis through your journey and beyond. For your caregivers, we have a First Connection volunteer program that matches you up with others who have been impacted with this type of cancer, and they've made it through, and they're happy to share how that journey goes. Every 3 minutes, someone is diagnosed with a blood cancer, which seems absolutely unbelievable. Every 3 minutes. And the funds that we raise not only fund different forms of blood cancer treatments, but they cross over to other forms of cancer for not just cures, but less toxic treatments and medications. And like Mandy mentioned, some of our medications cost $8,000 a month. Nobody can afford that. So we have a copay assistance program. So if anyone who's listening has been impacted by a cancer, or that does hit your home or someone nearby, please know you can go to lls.org to find out about our resources. We appreciate you all having us on.
And thanks, Christy and Mandy. Appreciate you guys. And one of the big things for us here is it was exactly what you guys were saying. It's not just about the monetary value that we're able to raise, but it's also the awareness that we can bring to our viewers as well as other people that will watch us later, because you don't know who's out there that may need these helps or services. So it's nice to be able to talk about it as well. But tonight we have our virtual duck race, which is what this is all about. And we were able to raise $1,450, if I recall, $1,450. So it's all going to go to the LLS. And with that being said, we got Tom, who does our duck race for us. So let's put those names in and see who the winner is. You're on mute, James.
You might be cursing. There you are.
There you
All right, there. Do you see the ducks up on the screen yet or not?
We do not.
I do not.
All right, let's see. Give me 1 second here. Let's see.
We're getting closer.
There we go.
Is it getting? My computer is lagging big time here. This is why Jamie or somebody else always has to do the duck race. My computer does not like these duck races. Let me know if you guys can see it at all.
We see the
getting
clock.
closer.
Oh, let's see. There it is, right?
We've got the clock, James.
Okay, clock.
go.
Let's do 60 seconds. We're gonna set
But
it.
we have no ducks.
Yeah, hold on. How about that?
There they are.
There they are. All right, Tom, you ready?
They're at the post.
All right, let's do it.
And they are off. Charging down the Ohio River to Paycor Stadium. Very evenly balanced group tonight. You got purple duck up top, but you don't want to lead early. I think we've already had an early leader winning.
It's my aunt.
Couple of purple ducks. Nobody is taking command early on as they're swimming down. I mean, there's a lot of bumping going on. I think that is Pirate Duck who's showing some aggressiveness.
Purple's the color of the night here.
It is. But fading back, now we got a couple of traditional regular Ohio River ducks up in there. Neon green duck.
Wow,
He ain't gonna win. 7 seconds ago, they're charging by. Susan Baines looking pretty good. The queen duck.
Oh my goodness.
Photo finish.
It's like Emmett Bold, wasn't
I
it?
think the bumblebee duck won it, but I can't.
Yes, somebody came out from the back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Emmett Bold, it looks like was the winner.
Emmett Bold.
Emmett Bold.
Do you mind me just sharing? I'm an LLS staff member, so maybe my son shouldn't have won, but Emmett Bold is my son, and he was named after his father, who he lost to a blood cancer, and the whole reason I work here. So that's pretty ironic. Maybe Tony can just pull a second one at some point, and we can give it to somebody else. So that's amazing. Really.
No,
fun.
I think that's great, Christina.
I don't know.
Congrats.
Emmett Bold is taking a victory lap. I think he wants that.
That duck worked hard all week on this race. You can't take it from him.
That duck is going all the way to
Or
Market
feathers.
Dam. I mean,
Super
no signs of slowing down.
Super.
Well, we're going to say that Emmett gets this jersey, so he's going to get this Joe Mixon signed custom jersey. So we appreciate everyone who's contributed. And again, this isn't just about the monetary value that we're able to help with these organizations. It's about bringing the knowledge and an awareness out to people. So we appreciate you guys, and thanks for bringing this opportunity to us for sharing, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thanks so much.
guys.
Mandy, I'll talk to you. Thanks all.
Good day.
Bye.
Bye. All righty. You know, people are probably wondering, where's Jimmy tonight? Well, it's Trisha's birthday, but Jimmy apparently has time to type in there and making fun of my mustache. So,
You know, but James, I'm glad you brought that up because, as you said, it is they're out celebrating Trisha's birthday, and you know, Jimmy will spare no expense for his wife, and he knows when it's your birthday, you get a free stack of pancakes at IHOP. So anybody out there tonight, they had 8:30 reservations at the Coleraine IHOP. Stop in and see Jimmy and Trish, and be sure to tell her happy birthday. They'll appreciate that.
oh man, a lot of happy birthday, Trisha, but a lot of cool comments about Austin. So we appreciate him coming on, and we've got we've got
more things there.
Before we go into our 2-minute warning. Yes, Tony, go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, a couple more things, James. So I just got a text from an anonymous donor. We know him very well, but he is going to go ahead and donate to make that an even $2,000 to LLS. So thank you to that anonymous donor, and appreciate his support. And also, you know, from this weekend, we raised over $3,000 for the Burrow Foundation, and with this weekend and this duck race, it brings our year-to-date total to almost $91,000. So, again, I cannot say thank you enough to all the Bengal Nation for the great support that you guys are doing. And we have a goal of $150,000, and I really think we're going to blow past that if we keep this trend up. So, again, just appreciate it. We're at $91,000 for the year. So, thank you to everyone.
Impressive. And I did have some pictures, Tony, here. I think, as you mentioned, Joe Burrow helmet went to the winner from Sunday night. The Joe Burrow Foundation was the charity.
Yeah, we had a Joe Burrow signed alternative white helmet that went to Jen and Kenton Davis. You guys might know him as Bengal Chucky. So we were able to get that helmet to them. And then we also had a Sam Hubbard signed jersey, which we I can't remember the gentleman's name, but I do believe he was from the Kentucky area. You were talking to him, James, but he received that jersey as well. So
you want to talk about this picture?
Yeah. So real quick, you know, Tony's Tickets for Kids, which is a program that we started, you know, a couple years ago, giving opportunities for kids to go to their first game. This is Maddox, who was blessed with seeing a great win for his first NFL game. Got to experience the tailgate. I don't know if I think we might have set the standard too high for him now, so I don't know if his second game will be as good. But again, appreciate everyone who donates tickets and provides that opportunity for these first kids to go to their game. I'm still looking for tickets for next week's game. If anyone has any to donate or whatever, I would appreciate that, and we can make sure that we send another kid to their first game. I think we've now been able to do 27 kids, sending them to their first game, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Very cool. We get that question asked a lot. You know, is the tailgate kid friendly, family friendly? 100%. See, Foco donated a bobblehead along with some other cool prizes. You can see that young gentleman there took home the DJ Reader bobblehead, it looks like. So yes, any tailgate. I'm going to talk about Jacksonville here in the 2-minute warning, but anytime you want to come down, all ages, you are more than welcome to attend. You did mention Ken Riley. Here he is enjoying some of our Condado tacos that they bring down every week. And there's the representative there. We wanted to give them a shout out. And then even the Tiger and Jimmy had time to snag a taco during the tailgate. So so much fun. And here's just another picture of the stacked crowd. You know, we're so fortunate to have the tailgate location we have. You can see Big Burrow there and kind of the center right. As always, we appreciate Craig, Dell, Cincy Beer Fest, all those folks who work on the beverage side of things. But just a fun atmosphere, always 100% family friendly. And if you haven't made it down, we would love to see you. Tony sent me a 2-minute warning, a new one that didn't get uploaded. So we're going to have to use yours, Tony.
This is the 2-minute warning.
I look so serious.
So serious there. Mark, go ahead and start us off.
All right. Excited for the game. I'm just really proud of the team. This week I think we just have to come out and really put them away. The first half, really impressed with the defense. Go from a team like San Francisco, who's very structured, on schedule, to a team like Buffalo, who's off cuff and they want to make things happen out of the pocket. And for us to be able to handle those back-to-back weeks, so we're coming in with this young, scrappy team. We should go ahead and put them out their misery early. We need a complete game, at least a complete first half, if we could get that, offense, defense, special teams. But I'll see you gentlemen Sunday morning, bright and early.
Sunday. Tony?
Yeah, so longest third down I've ever experienced at Paycor. I don't know if you guys remember it, but it just kept on going and going, penalty after penalty. But anyway, we were able to pull out the big win. And I agree with Austin. I'm kind of skeptical about the whole Texas Bengals game. I think I think we're going to win, but I just think it's going to be a scrappy little dirty win, from a perspective that we're not going to be able to just blow them out like some people may think. But looking forward to it. Also, we got another charity this weekend, so make sure you come out and support that, and keep doing the donating. And appreciate everyone who were able to wear the right colors for your section. It was awesome to see the aerial views from that, and there was some media folks saying that Bengal fans weren't too intelligent, and was really surprised that we were able to do that. We are the best and most knowledgeable fan base around, so we can show them up for that for sure. So other than that, respect you all, and I appreciate everything.
I'm going to go next. Tom, you can end it, and we're going to talk about the Jacksonville tailgate here. Getting a lot of questions. The flyer is up. The pre-sale price is going to be good through Friday, so if you have not purchased your tickets yet, we invite you to do so. Again, thanks to Craig for doing a lot of the legwork on this. This is going to be an epic location that something we haven't done before. I think we're close to 500 people already pre-registered. So if you're going to come down for that game, Monday Night Football, the link is in the comments. There's the flyer. You can also get that information on the social media channels. We'd love for you to be there. It's going to be a lot of fun. Back at Paycor on Sunday, as we talked about, for the 1:00 kickoff. Skyline Donato's, our normal regulars, everything bagels, and DJ Trub will be back. And can't thank everybody.
Prime Steak, don't forget. I think there's big, right?
Is that this Sunday?
I thought it was.
Oh boy. If not, Mark's going to owe everybody a steak. But look forward to it. Again, just a huge crowd. It was pretty much a playoff crowd that we had there on Sunday night. And appreciate everyone that came out. As we talked about, Alicia Reese, that's one person we didn't talk about. Alicia Reese came down after a lot of the folks did the Bootsy Collins video across the way at the Black Music Hall of Fame. And the one thing that she was blown away by was our map. And if you've never been to a tailgate, we ask people that aren't from the area, whether it's from Idaho or Germany, place a pin on the map. And she just could not believe the diversity of Bengals fans from literally all over the globe. So kudos to all of them, and look forward to seeing you Sunday. Tom?
A couple of things. Again, big thanks to Austin Elmore. Cincinnati's always had a rich broadcasting history. Sports talk hosts, Bengal coverage. I think of the group we have, which is just an incredible, hardworking group. Austin's the best. You can tell he works hard. He's always prepared. He's got, an objective mind, but he's also got the heart of a fan. He can relate to us, I think, better than anybody behind a microphone. So please follow him on social media and listen to his show Monday through Friday, 12 noon on 1530 a.m. Another segment we had started last week, the Viewer of the Week. And based on nominations and so forth, that goes to Mike of Hidden Valley Lake in Indiana. So when you see him just off a State Line Road, please say hi to Mike from Hidden Valley Lake. He is the viewer and Bengals fan of the week there. A very important game Sunday. And I agree with Austin with the big win last week on primetime and a monstrous game looming in Baltimore. It would be easy to overlook Houston. I don't think Zach Taylor, maybe by nature that's going to happen. I don't think Zach Taylor is going to let that happen. I don't think our quarterback, Joe Burrow, is going to let that happen. I just think Houston's darn good, and they're very, very dangerous. I think it's going to be an entertaining game, and it's going to fall back on us, the fans, to get that playoff atmosphere back there and make Houston miserable inside Paycor Stadium. And on that, we're by the fans, for the fans. So many people that I talk to from out of town that come into Cincinnati are not just blown away by the 180 that has been done with fan optimism and enthusiasm for the team in our city, but the incredible youth movement in that stadium. The top canopy is, full of people in their 20s, season ticket holders and enthusiasts. And you know what? They don't care about the naysayers. They're there to have fun and back their team and make that place loud. The new generation of Bengal fans, you guys are fantastic. You are appreciated, and you're going to be a big part of keeping this team in town. You mirror the sports movement where, the fastest growing sport for youth is flag football. And a big part of that is women, but you see the ladies there dressed up and loud every week. Some of them don't use the language that is, very common in the South end zone, but you don't hear that kind of stuff in the North end zone. But nonetheless, that'll probably come. But thank you to all of you viewers. There's a lot of different places you can stop and get your Bengals information, and we hope you do. Back everybody. But we thank you for supporting us every week, and we'll see you next Tuesday.
Good day, everybody.
Good day.